Hey everyone, this is my review of the film Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island is directed by Jordan Vogt-Roberts and stars Samuel Jackson, John Goodman, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, and an array of other supporting actors that I will probably mention throughout this review. So, Kong Skull Island is about a man played by John Goodman who is a scholar and works with a geologist played by Corey Hawkins, and they discover that something mysterious is going on with this island in the South Pacific. So they recruit a group of military men led by Samuel Jackson, a tracker played by Tom Hiddleston, a photographer played by Brie Larson, and a group of other scientists to explore and figure out what's going on. As the title alludes to, King Kong is an inhabitant of this Skull Island, and when the military men come in and start dropping bombs, that's when the complications and all of the conflicts arise, and King Kong is not very happy about, these dudes coming into his home and basically destroying it and letting things go crazy. So, as some of you may know, this film is actually in the same universe as the Godzilla film that came out a couple of years ago with Bryan Cranston. And this film takes place in the 1970s, early 1970s, during the Vietnam War. And it definitely has that 70s vibe to it. You can tell that it's influenced by great war films of the past like Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket. This film doesn't stand beside either of those. Those are two of my favorite films of all time, a couple of the best war films of all time, but it definitely has that vibe to it because those also take place during the Vietnam War. Start with the things that I liked about this film. The score is pretty solid. It's not the most memorable score soundtrack, but it definitely creates the vibe of the 70s and it comes in when it needs to. And then John C. Reilly, who plays this guy that's been stranded on this island for a long time, and he comes across the group of people trying to figure out and explore the island, and he gives a great performance. He's definitely a standout from the film because he adds this sense of humor of this like crazy guy explaining what's going on, but he also like really gives some great acting chops. Like there are some more emotional moments when he talks about his friend and his family back home, and it's a really great performance overall. There are other solid performances here. I say Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson are great. The scenes that they share are really special. Corey Hawkins adds a great element to it, as well as Thomas Mann, who plays one of the soldiers that's on the expedition. I think half of the ensemble is really good here, like really solid. And that brings me to one of my major flaws of the film, is that towards the middle, you have these two groups that split up. You have the military guys on one mission, and you have many of the people that I was talking about, Tom Hiddleston's character, Brie Larson, Corey Hawkins, and a few others on this other side trip, and that's when they meet John C. Reilly. And I feel like if you would have focused it on the second group, and it would have made the film a Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson led film with those supporting characters just trying to figure out like what's going on and exploring the island, instead of having this military aspect to it, I think it would have made the film more focused, more simple, and more entertaining, and heavily reduce Samuel Jackson's role and John Goodman's role, because I feel like that section is the part that didn't really work for me. But going back to some of the positives, it's very visually stunning. It's very stylistic. I loved a lot of the slow motion action sequences. I thought those were really cool. I like the look of King Kong. CGI doesn't look bad or anything. I like seeing all of the different creatures that the island has. Everything is huge and they're just exploring it. I really love those sections, and fighting the different monsters that they encounter was really cool. For the negatives, we are going to witness some cliches here. There's going to be some weak dialogue, some bad one-liners that some of the characters exclaim. Nothing that you probably wouldn't expect from a big budget movie like this, a big budget monster movie. You're probably going to cringe at some of the deliveries. So this film kind of reminded me of the Legend of Tarzan film that came out last year, which I actually enjoyed quite a bit, and also involved Samuel L. Jackson, because just like I said about this film, it's visually stunning, it's beautiful to watch, there's a lot of great moments in here, but the dialogue isn't as great and the characters aren't as developed, but I think it's still a strong film to watch and enjoy. It does what it needs to do, which is to add to this Godzilla universe and build the world around it, introduce this new monster, King Kong, and what he's like and his abilities, so that further on, as we get sequels and spin-offs and other additions to this universe, we get to see King Kong interact with Godzilla and see all of these other monsters interact with each other. And I think this is a great tool to do that. So I'm excited to revisit this universe for years to come. I can tell that there's going to be a lot of movies coming out with the different monsters interacting with each other, different standalone monsters. It's going to be really cool to watch. Very entertaining. So I would recommend going out and seeing this if you want to see a fun action movie, not like the Transformers where it dulls you and you're just bored the whole time. I hate that franchise. But something that has a little more to it, has some heart, has some great themes about taking care of the earth, taking care of the environment, taking care of animals. Overall, it's serviceable, it's solid, and there are some aspects of the film that I can't talk about here because I don't want to spoil it for you, but as you watch the film from beginning to end, you'll understand why there are a lot of great moments and a lot of things to appreciate here. And by the way, there is a post-credit scene, so if you want a little extra treat at the end that's setting up the universe, then stay in your seats in the theater. So I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. If you've seen the film, please comment below and tell me what you thought about it. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel for more reviews. And as always, have a good one.